Tranquility du Jour, February 5th, 2019. Hello there, this is Kimberly Wilson, and welcome to the 442nd edition of Tranquility du Jour. I thought I might pop in from time to time and do every other week muses on various topics just to add to the numerous interviews of the beautiful artists, activists, and authors that you'll find here at Tranquility du Jour. So today, what I thought would be fun is a little bit of chatting about creativity. So it's one of the tenets of Tranquility du Jour. So I'm going to talk a little bit about it. I'm going to talk about ways to practice it, tools for making it happen, benefits, and more. Now, before I dive into that, what I wanted to do is say a big thank you to everyone who participated in the giveaways from last week. So there's a link in the show notes to the giveaways page that I did. The good news is, although 2 are over, 1 is ongoing throughout the month of February. So a reminder that the winner of The Meandering River of Unfathomable Joy by Christine Mason Miller is the beautiful Pamela. And Pamela, please be sure to reach out to me and pass along your snail mail address so that we can get that book out to you. And then also the winner on Instagram. A big thank you to everyone who contributed, who shared how they find tranquility in every day, and also tagged their friends. So appreciate it. And the winner was the Literate Chick. And again, a big thank you. I wanted to share some of the ways that you all mentioned you find tranquility in the everyday, from fresh flowers to sitting for a moment to draw, hot cup of tea, flavor dependent on mood, evening baths with lavender bath salts. I mean, isn't this all amazing? Tea time, of course, yoga. There's a lot of yoga, reading, listening to a good song on my way to work, starting my day with prayer and meditation, starting with my planner, looking outside to appreciate nature and see what the birds, deer, squirrels, and other creatures are up to. Journaling, of course, journaling was a big one. Tea and journaling, daily meditation, hikes in nature, a morning cup of tea with lemon, music, hand on my heart, reading a chapter in a book in the evening with no TV or noise, evening herbal tea and a few minutes of quiet before bed, practicing creative hand lettering, and breathing, yoga, creating, and journaling. And dance. I mean, there were so many. I loved it. There were so many wonderful ideas. So thank you guys for participating in that. I really appreciate it. And the way to find out about these giveaways is to subscribe to receive my blog via, it'll go right into your inbox, and you can do that if you go over to the blog page, kimberlywilson.com/blog. You'll find that. And then also, I usually will post my blog posts also over on Facebook. So you can find those facebook.com/Tranquility du Jour. So the one, though, that is still ongoing that I want to encourage everyone to participate in, if you can, is the one that's happening all of February. And the winner each week will be chosen and given the option of any of the e-courses that are available to win. And I'll be drawing and kind of pulling kind of randomly from Amazon book reviews of Year of Tranquility. There'll be a link to that in the show notes to make it easy peasy for you guys to find it. And or posting a photo on Instagram using hashtag Year of Tranquility. So showing off your book in some capacity, maybe you working with the book, holding the book, whatever it is. So just, I'll be kind of scrolling through those every week throughout the month of February and then choosing someone to win every week. And then the past 3 winners have been Tammy, Lexi, and Joyce. So a big shout out to you guys, and thank you for the reviews and or the photos. So appreciate it. All right. So the other thing too, that I wanted to mention is Costa Rica. I can't believe I leave next freaking Saturday. So on the 16th for a week in Costa Rica. And the good news about that is if you are wondering, how can I get away and do something spontaneous over President's Day weekend and beyond, would love to have you. There are 2 spots left. Also, a reminder to save the date. March 24th is our next Tranquility du Jour live. June 8th is Yoga and the Animals at Burleigh Manor Animal Sanctuary. And then, of course, we're off to Tuscany in July. One other event that we just added last night, and I'll put a link to this in the show notes, is Pigs, Pugs, and Pinot, which is the second event that we're hosting for Pigs and Pugs Project, which is my nonprofit, this season, right? So what's so exciting is we're actually going to have a pig there, and then Pugs, my pugs will be there, and then many other people's pugs, and any other dog is of course welcome as long as they are pug friendly. So please come on out. We'll also have Humane Rescue Alliance there with some adoptable dogs and cats. So should be a really fun event. And all the funds that we raise will go to a pug rescue in need. And then the Life with Pigs Animal Sanctuary in Williamsburg, where Charlotte the pig will be coming up from for the day. And again, you'll get to meet her. So wanted to give a shout out to those events. Would love to have you and or see you in person. One other thing that I'm contemplating is a weekend urban retreat here in DC. So I'm still just kind of mulling over the idea, but it would be almost like a sort of intensive, almost like the Tranquility Salons that I'm hosting, which are 4-week courses, but to maybe give all that material in a weekend and, also have it be part of indulging and enjoying the culture of DC. So stay tuned for that. If you're interested, drop me a note and maybe let me know what you would find most beneficial. But I'm thinking a Friday night through a Sunday afternoon. And stay tuned for details on that. So a really deep, rich, luxurious immersion into kind of the study of tranquility in general. All right, so let's chat creativity, as I mentioned earlier. So I wanted to read to you from the new TDJ Tranquility du Jour Tenets that I created for Year of Tranquility. And it says creativity. Okay, so this is one of the 5 tenets. We connect with our creative spark and let it shine through arts, crafts, writing, setting a table with flair, or living out loud. Our surroundings reflect our creative style. We see most activities as a way to express our creativity and refuel our creative well regularly through reading, taking classes, and practicing. Our life is art. All right, so isn't that beautiful, right? As we think about tranquility really is in every single thing that we do. So I wanted to start. Do you see? I have notes. You can hear me turning pages. And the notes, I'm actually pulling this from Tranquility Salon. On Sunday, we met before the Super Bowl. I adjusted it because I realized a few days before it was a Super Bowl on Sunday. And I was like, hey, does anyone want to watch that? If so, let's meet earlier. And so our focus was creativity. And this quote I find so powerful. It says, don't ask what the world needs. Ask what makes you come alive and go do it. Because what the world needs is people who have come alive. Howard Thurman. Okay, so one of the definitions of creativity that I found online, this may have been through Webster's, I don't have it listed, but is the ability to transcend traditional ideas, rules, patterns, relationships, or the like, and to create meaningful new ideas, forms, methods, interpretations. So it's a sense of originality, progressiveness, or imagination, right? So it's thinking of taking something that is already out there, but putting your spin on it. So benefits of creativity. I found this really sweet infographic that I will share in the show notes, which can be found at kimberlywilson.com/442. So creativity allows you to express yourself. It promotes thinking and problem solving, gives you a sense of purpose, can link you to others with the same passion, leads to feelings of accomplishment and pride, promotes risk-taking and iteration, prerequisite for innovation, and encourages us to be lifelong learners. And there's a quote here, creativity now is as important in education as literacy, and we should treat it with the same status. Ken Robinson. So really, the great thing about creativity too is it allows for self-expression, right? So thinking about the ways in which we can express ourselves every day through creativity, from the way we spend our mornings, to what we wear, to what we eat or drink, to how we speak, to who we associate with, to what we listen to what we read. Kind of all the above to what we write with is a form of creative expression. Now, one of the pieces too in Year of Tranquility is creativity every day. So I wanted to read to you a few ideas that I have in this chapter and on this particular manifesto of sorts about creativity. And I'll put a link to this in the show notes, a downloadable PDF. So look for beauty on your daily walk and snap a photo. Try a new type of tea. Add a striped paper straw to your favorite libation, because we never use plastic, right? Bring fresh cut flowers to your home or office. Browse a thrift store or bookstore. Listen to a new genre of music. Add a chunky necklace to your ensemble. Set your writing tools on your desk in a vintage teacup. Weed your garden, literally and figuratively. Start your day differently than usual. Incorporate movement or meditation. Wander during your lunch break. Picnic in the park. So those are a few ideas of ways to find creativity in the everyday, right? So it's not so much of like, oh, let me go on a creativity retreat, even though that is amazing, but not everyone can do that. So how can we incorporate it in what we're already doing without adding more to our to-do lists? All right, so what are various types of creativity? Now, I'm going to list a bunch, and there are so many more. So music, dance, writing, general art, things like drawing, painting, sketching, sculpting. It was interesting. Yesterday, I went to the National Museum of Women in the Arts, and there was this beautiful exhibit, Rodarts, which are two sisters who are out of LA and design these beautiful, beautiful dresses and ensembles. And what was really beautiful to see was Natalie Portman's two tutus, the white swan and the black swan from Black Swan, the movie. So they designed those. Anyway, it was just absolutely beautiful. Sometimes we think general art, is a painting, and yet it can also be, of course, fashion. So photography, cooking, baking, crafts, things like embroidery, knitting, crochet, macrame, jewelry making, decorating, gardening, business, the way we conduct business, the way we package our products, all of that is a form of creativity. Hand lettering, calligraphy, acting, improv, the way we communicate, exercise, origami, problem solving. Say you're a yoga teacher or some form of exercise teacher or dance teacher. The sequencing you use, the theme you use, the music you use. That's for workshops and retreats also. Art journaling, flower arranging. So there's so many ways in which we can infuse and add more creativity into our days. What I don't have here is reading. Let me just add that right on in, because reading, and of course I had writing, but reading is also a form of creativity. It's a way of digesting other people's creativity and in turn influencing our own. Okay, so how do we incorporate creativity on a regular basis? So I always like to talk about Steve Jobs, right? Because he was a big, big wanderer. He loved to walk, and that's where he got great ideas. So for you, what are some ways in which you can let your mind wander? Maybe having a lunchtime getaway or a tea date with a friend. And of course, trying something new, signing up for workshops on dance, handicrafts. My macrame, I took 2 macrame workshops last year and I just loved them. Hand lettering, I have a workshop in that coming up. Love it. I'm much better at faux lettering, which is really just making your letters and then going over them to make them look like you've actually been able to hand letter them. It's Google it. It's a thing. Faux foligraphy. And it's I don't know, for those of us who struggle with it, because I think hand lettering is so hard, it's really, really fun. Biking, drawing, there's so many ways. Of course, going to a museum, a concert, performing arts, a park. I just got my tickets to see Garth Brooks in Pittsburgh in May. So excited. It's these little things that really, they do provide this sense of a creative balm of sorts, like a fusion. Taking new routes to work or new routes with your dog. Like I just got back, so that's why you may hear some snoring dogs. I just got back from a long walk with the pups because it's freaking 60 degrees here in DC. And, it's just nice to shake things up, do things a little differently. Of course, bookstores are a source of inspiration to me. Craft stores. I was in Blick yesterday and just looking at all the pens and the various things that they have. Just so fun, so inspiring. Nature, of course, movies, and then just simply revamping one's routine. So the tricky thing, right, is sometimes it can be like, well, I just don't have time for this. That's all well and good, but I don't have time for creativity. So I wanted to share some ideas on ways to maybe find some time. Signing up for a class is always a great way. That's one way I stay accountable, particularly if I need to be somewhere at a certain time, or if it's live and I need to be online at a certain time. I am there with bells on. A change of scenery can also help with making and finding the time. For some people, it's like you just kind of can't get those creative juices flowing at home. So going and sitting at a cafe or getting, something like a WeWork set up, which is, for those of you who don't know WeWork, or, those sort of, there's many other alternatives, but it's this idea of a workspace, like a community workspace where you can go and sit and like when I go there, that is my work time. Carve out a corner on the internet. So one of the pieces with that I think is really important is if you have a blog, or you have, a newsletter you need to write, something, or an Instagram account you need to feed, something along those lines can really help to ensure that creativity happens, because you can feel this sense of accountability. When we feel accountable to doing something or bringing something forth, we're just simply more apt to do it. Also noticing, where is your time and energy going? So doing a little bit of an audit, paying attention for a week or two. Where has my time and energy been going? And can you do any cutting out of things? Like I've noticed for me, whenever I get into bed at night, Tim and I, we love to look longingly at our pups and watch them kind of, play, get ready for bed. They're like so into it. And, we'll do that for quite a bit. And then sometimes we'll watch something for, say, like 30 minutes. So I found like last night, instead of doing that, of course, we watched the pups because they're adorable. But then I did some reading, and it's just like carving out that space. I mean, I would much rather read. It's just, it takes effort, right? Versus like staring at a screen and being entertained. And so if I can in turn not stare at the screen and be entertained, but read, it's amazing how many books one can get through in a year. Oh, and be sure to set up your Goodreads reading challenge for those of you on Goodreads. It's also important to set up routines and blocking out chunks of time. So for example, maybe Tuesday from 6 to 8 is your creative space. Maybe that's your weekly artist date, right? Which is something that Julia Cameron from The Artist's Way encourages. 1 to 2 hours of solo time where you do something that nourishes your creative spark. So maybe you set aside a specific time and you treat it like a doctor's appointment that you would not miss. And then, of course, rewarding yourself. So whenever you do actually make your time for creativity, maybe it's like, okay, so I'm going to go sit and write at a tea shop. And then my reward afterwards is a yummy vegan ginger scone like they have here in DC at Teaism. And just so you know, if I do that weekend retreat here in DC, we will definitely be having some Teaism ginger scones. So those are my ideas on how can we infuse our days with more creativity. What is creativity? What are the benefits of creativity? Tranquility. So I hope this has been helpful for you. And again, I will be doing more of these in between the numerous interviews. I have so many wonderful interviews in the can, which means pre-recorded, even from 2018. I have 3 coming up on Friday, 3 interviews. So there's so many wonderful interviews coming your way. And I just want to say a big thank you, of course, for tuning in. So again, you'll find resources for things that I've shared today over at KimberlyWilson.com/442. If you're not on my mailing list, be sure to sign up. I love to send love notes every other week, and to keep you in the know of what's going on. The big thing too right now that I'm working on from a creative endeavor is Tranquility Spring Collection. We have our shoot end of next week, right before I head off to Costa Rica. And so we're working on the samples. We have the new color, which I announced to those on the Tranquility mailing list. But podcast listeners, just so you know, it's called Burleigh, and it's this beautiful light pink. I think the actual Pantone name is Smoky Rose. Like, it's just gorgeous. And, so I try to make sure that creativity is infused. And then also this piece that I'm mulling over about the weekend retreat, some sort of like a mastermind intensive of sorts. So again, stay tuned for that, because I am dreaming it up right now. And I'm also dreaming up, ladies, another online course. So just stay tuned for that. And if you have anything that you're super duper excited about and want, please don't hesitate to reach out, because I love hearing from you and your ideas and what your needs are. And I'm also going through the survey that you spent so much time and lovingly paid attention to last fall with, just so much detail. You guys were amazing. And so I'm definitely reviewing that too, to get ideas on what would be most meaningful and useful to you all. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And I wish you a delightful week ahead. And you can find me, of course, over at KimberlyWilson.com. Have a great week. Namaste.